night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show where I'm constantly trying to find out who's going to watch The Watchmen. And it's certainly not the comedian. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday. Yes, it's Juneteenth Thursday, I guess. For those of you that have the day off, congratulations. For those of you that didn't or do not, I hope the day is going quietly and smoothly. I did a little diversion this morning with part of my day off and doing a Twitch stream. I don't even know if it saved the stream. I don't know if I had it set to actually archive the stream. If you got to see it, great. If not, you might or not have missed something. I don't know. I just wanted to, I guess, be a little cathartic for a while on something that I didn't feel as comfortable ranting about on YouTube for the sake of content matching risks and letting things run too long. If you let something run too long on YouTube, it zaps you pretty quick. So anyway, if you got to see it, great. Don't worry about having to pay attention to Twitch all the time on my behalf. It was probably just a once-in-a-blue moon kind of thing. But I don't know. If you guys like that kind of thing who were able to see it, let me know. Maybe I'll do more stuff like that in the future. Elsewise, before we get into tonight's subject matter, who's joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening? Walter Tomaszewski. Good evening. Good news, Philip's life of crime is over. He's reverted to sneaking daddy snacks again from extorting the neighbors for Doritos and chicken. One of his hench mice squeaked on him. The Adventures of George and Philip. The Alexander, good evening. Advocatus Diaboli, hello. Kieverdam, hello. And thank you, Kieverdam, as always, for providing the links to the GoFundMes. Guys, at the top of the chat box, got it pinned up there for our friends Twisted Skipster and Angela Arriaga. Twisted is trying to raise money for his daughter's wrestling club, and Angela is starting her own home-based business. If you guys can take a look at those, if you're able to donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you can share those out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. And thank you, Kieverdam, for providing the links. Adabisi, good evening. Tall Person, hello, and thank you, Tall Person, as well, for retweeting out the stream. Yes, guys, if you see it on the X machine, please do retweet it. And if you're seeing the actual stream on X itself, I am simulcasting on X. So if you see that, please do retweet that, or watch it there if you're able. I assume that works, too. Let's see, who else is here? Mike R., good evening. Toot Sweet, hello. Adam Nixon, good evening. Tack Alpaca, hello. And Spoonie the Rebel, good evening. The Best Remy, hello. Anybody else? Scrolling. Angelverse, good evening. And thank you, Tack Alpaca, for the very reverential Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
Oh, there's a froggy Dogcat Fox. Haven't heard that one in a while. Thank you so much, Attack Alpaca. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good evening. Simon Willikins, hello. And Green Badger Outdoors, good evening. And to anybody I missed, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Anybody lurking, anybody in the future, hello. All right, so tonight's topic, kind of an odd one. I thought I'd try to shoot for something a little bit more, I don't know, serious-ish or something a bit more ambiguous. Didn't seem completely off base, but who knows. The online responsibility gap. Who cleans the digital streets? And all I derived from the title, because I just focused on the title, was, well, is this going to be a warning against a ministry of truth? Someone who watches over who can say what and becomes some kind of tone policing, language policing, content policing, suppressing certain speech while elevating others? Is it going to be a warning against the slippery slope of that mentality? Or is it going to be an endorsement of such things? Or a little bit of both? Don't know. But that is the subject matter as I interpret it. I could be completely wrong. I have been misled by TEDx titles before, so I guess we'll find out together. Also, Darren Root, hello. The bingo card tonight is bingo card A, everybody. Links to the bingo cards are in the description below. A, as in Tron, because Tron was the winner of the digital police options in today's bingo poll. If you'd like to join in on the bingo poll each week and or to just follow my shenanigans On the X machine, you can follow me at scribe_light, as you see down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. But with all that being said, am I missing anything? I don't think I am. I'm going to turn down the music just a smidge. Also, our speaker has a mohawk. I kind of, I don't know, my first thought was Heroin Bob from SLC Punk, if you ever saw SLC Punk. I don't know if our speaker is as cool as Heroin Bob, but I guess we'll find out together. So get your bingo cards ready. This one clocks in at just under 12 minutes. Start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we will proceed.
I want us all to start by imagining being in a place where you can never quite get clean.
You want us to start by imagining being in a place where you can never get quite clean. So I'm trying to think of a funny joke. I mean, I was going to make some kind of joke about one of my Midnight's Edge in the Morning compatriots, but Paul Chatto would never forgive me. So, yeah, you guys hear that okay? Adabisi, I hear claps and a guy in funny hair. You hear a guy in funny... I mean, his hair is quite loud, but okay. Advocates Diabli, I feel overdressed and I hear it. Well, I'm not looking, so if you want to divest yourself, I'm not going to complain. Just don't turn on your webcam, and I'll be fine. All right, anyway, so a place can't get quite clean.
Everything you do, everything you touch sort of leaves a little bit of dirt, a little bit of grime. Even the water you're using doesn't quite get it off.
Oh, so like attending the Democratic National Convention?
It's a very uncomfortable feeling. Now consider that there's a place that we go to every day that sort of has this same dynamic.
Oh, is it the internet? Oh man, is it the internet?
Now we don't notice it as easily because the dirt and the grime is not physical.
Oh, right. It's spiritual.
It's rather information pollution.
Information. Uh-oh, guys. Oh man, I don't know what to tell you. I am rolling in the filth every day. I mean, I spend and this is sincere. This is a sincere statement. I spend far too much time on Twitter, making jokes, making memes, finding out about what's going on in the world while I'm watching the news or something. I do. I really need to cut down. I really need to physically remove myself sometimes. Not because I'm getting filthy, so to speak, just because I'm wasting too much time. I should be doing something more productive. And yet sometimes, Marvel posts a new poster advertising their next catastrophe, and I just can't help myself. I got to Photoshop and make a joke out of it. Or something. I'm kind of addicted to making silly little memes and jokes and stuff. It's that endorphin hit, I tell you.
Knowledge pollution. What, as a philosopher, I would call epistemic pollution.
Oh, you're a philosopher. Okay. Epistemic pollution. Okay. You're setting us up.
Now, that's a big fancy phrase, but...
No, it's a big fancy... Well, okay, epistemic pollution. Okay, you know what? I think it's time to go to the bingo card. Because I think he just hit on one of the squares for us. Let's go over the bingo card real quick to remind ourselves what we are listening for as we digest this argument. Collectivize his own demographic. Not yet. Systemic or institutional? Not... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he says about the internet and so on. A sales pitch for product or service? Possibly. Does he have an app he's pitching or some other organization or something? Childhood or family anecdote? Not yet. Diversity, equity, and inclusion? No. Plays victim? No. Microaggressions or unconscious bias? Remember, that has to be the speaker using those elements in their presentation. Not that the speaker possesses them, but they actually use those concepts or reasonable similarities to them. Privilege, contradicts own point or fails to make argument. Don't know what it is yet. Patriarchy, no. Deceptive statistics, Not yet. Economic disparity? Not yet. Feminism? No. Marginalized marginalization? A list? We'll see. White supremacy? No. Word salad? No. Self-vilification or wretchedness? We'll find out. Weightless example or non sequitur? Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase? I'm going to say epistemic information or whatever he said. Yeah, I'm gonna circle that one. I'm going to say that's something that he's pushing as a new buzzword or buzz phrase. Circling that one. Mind reading assumes motives. I bet we'll get there. Benevolent condescension, possibly. Anecdote that probably never happened. And lastly, leaves out vital context. So far on the board, as far as I'm concerned, free space and attempt to coin a new buzzword or buzz phrase.
But I'm sure you've all experienced it, and you all know exactly what it is.
Okay, well then, mind reading assumes motives. That was quick. Thank you so much. Circling that one. All right, well, if I already know what it is, then why are you here?
Epistemic pollution is misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, bias.
Which are all things that people possess. And I'll give a little bit more time. I know he just said bias, so you could say, well, then he just said microaggressions or unconscious bias. But let's see if he gets a bit more specific.
It's false advertising. It's sort of anything whose accuracy or truth is just a little bit dubious.
Okay, which is just about everything I can't see for myself. Sometimes in small percentages, sometimes in large.
In nature.
In nature.
And the place that we are all experiencing this
is the news media.
It's also not a physical space.
I mean, it's okay. The fourth estate.
It's our digital spaces.
Oh, so IRC, ICQ, AOL Instant Messenger, Napster. Yeah, no, I gotcha.
I know. I'm one that I always reach for my digital spaces. I'm on them all the time.
You know, I was just saying a minute ago, or maybe you weren't here for that. I really do need to cut out my quote-unquote digital spaces a bit. Just a bit. Do something else. Do something productive. Do some writing.
It's where I interact with the world. It's how
a very, very small slice of the world for the brief attention span that most of us in the world have for it.
how I get my news and my events. But increasingly, those are filled with epistemic pollution.
Epistemic pollution. All right. So as we proceed, the question will become, what is our speaker's proposed solution to epistemic pollution? That was your Dr. Seuss moment for the evening.
And it's only going to get worse.
Okay.
Meta is now not fact-checking anything that's posted on the website.
Oh my God, guys, Meta is no longer fact-checking anything because obviously when Meta was fact-checking stuff, everything Meta fact-checked was itself completely accurate and truthful. What will we do without the Meta fact-checkers, everyone? What will we do?
And the very technology that we might think would help us clean our hands, something like a search engine to try and figure out what the truth is, well, research is showing that those are just as filled with epistemic pollution as anything else.
Research has shown that. Oh, you mean common sense didn't already tell us that from before? Corporations with an agenda of profit motive. Okay, well, I guess research shows. Give us some percentages. I want to at least have a chance at circling deceptive statistics.
That it can actually increase our exposure to it. And just like with contaminated water or rotten food, if our information diet is contaminated and corrupted with this epistemic pollution, it can have pretty bad effects. Our epistemic health, what we believe to be true about the world, guides our actions. And so if it's polluted, our actions can often be harmful to ourselves and to others.
Okay, I don't mean to cut the guy off, but he is right now a living run-on paragraph. You need to take a breath and a pause. Okay. All right. Now, in a way, I feel more like I'm at a sort of a religious gathering or something. I'm having a sermon placed upon me. Okay, so how? Tell me, Father, how do I rid myself of this epistemic sin that I am wallowing in? Oh, please, I need to cleanse my soul. All right, you're setting us up. Repetition. All right, you need to move on. What's the next step in this?
This is how radicalization and extremism tend to happen.
Yes, and that only happens in one direction, doesn't it? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for at this point one of two things to come up: either the pandemic, or I guess I take it back. One of three things: the pandemic, January 6th, or the 2024 election. One or more of those three items.
In online spaces.
Uh-huh.
Hello, my name is Eric David Berg. I'm a philosopher.
Yeah, I guess with that haircut, you'd have to be.
That studies propaganda.
Oh, studies propaganda. Everything is propaganda. Propaganda, I mean, it has this negative connotation, but it's a very sort of generic thing if you think about it. I'll give you the dictionary definition. Propaganda is communication primarily used to influence or persuade an audience to adopt a specific viewpoint or agenda. So, advertising is propaganda. This talk this guy is giving is propaganda. It's just that over the last several years, propaganda has been used as a pejorative and been turned into one. It's more colloquialism now for fake news or conspiracy theories or something. But it's just material meant to persuade, effectively. In a way, every single TEDx we've ever watched has been propaganda. So, I wonder if our speaker is aware that he's committing propaganda right now.
Extremism and technology.
Propaganda, extremism, and technology. Okay, do you mean extremism in the ambiguous sense? Because I have a feeling that your studies of extremism or your attribution of extremism only swings one direction. I just have a sense. Maybe it's the haircut. Thank you, Duck Dog, so much. Studies propaganda or creates propaganda. Ooh. Well, he may do the first, but we know, simply by dictionary definition, that he is currently committing the second. Yes, thank you, Duck Dog. Ooh, it shows your ranking on the Super Chat. I didn't know it does that. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh yes, I have to engage with the leaderboard. Right now, guys, at the top of the leaderboard for audience engagement, we have Tall Person in the number 1 spot, Morgan King in number 2, and Duck Dog in number 3. If you'd like to move up on the board, you have to dance like a monkey or something. I don't know. I put more things in the chat or something. I haven't been given any guidance by YouTube on exactly what qualifies for extra points. So, I guess you'll trial and error there.
And I got interested in studying it because, well, I've been a citizen of the internet for most of my life. It's a...
Okay. That's not necessarily a point in your favor. Of course, I've been a citizen of the internet for most of my adult life, at least. I don't know that that's something I'd brag about. It's more like a necessary evil. Keeverdam, thank you so much. Epistemic pollution has been used before. I looked it up. Oh, are you saying I need to uncircle that square, Keeverdam? Is Keeverdam saying I need to uncircle that square? I mean, I guess the question is, do we want to attribute that phrase to him? Do we want to give him credit? Ooh, because if I circle that square, I'm giving him credit. All right, okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. I will remove it. Thankfully, I wasn't too many circles into the process so far, so I didn't have to try to remember everything I'd circled so far. All right, well, for now, I will reverse time, and so far, revision, guys, for now, on the board, free space and mind reading assumes motives. I have removed attempt to coin new buzzword buzzphrase. So we'll see. Dom O'Leary, hey all, was listening to Monkey but thought this would be cool. Hope all is ranting monkey stepping on my long established time slot? That bastard. Okay. You know, I don't usually do this. But I need at least someone to be an agent for me. Is Monkey streaming right now? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Dom, you headed it off at the pass. I was about to let loose. I was about to send somebody on a mission. I was like, wait a second. Okay. Calm down. I was about to have some fun with Monkey. I retract my ire. He knows better than that. In fact, I don't think he's conscious right now.
It's a place I love. It's a place I find community. I'm sure everybody else has communities that you experience online, or people in different countries that you can only reach to through these technologies.
It's true. I'm doing so right now. Oh my gosh, it's almost like you're in the room with me.
And I'm sure you're also feeling the same way I'm feeling, that these places are different.
Well, A, they're not places, and B, you mean different from real life? Yes.
They feel different when
yeah?
you log in. They're unclean.
What?
They feel a little unsafe.
Okay, you know, I think, I have a feeling, I know this, for a TEDx, I'm sure this is a rare event. Are you sure you're not projecting just a little bit?
And so I want to ask you a question.
I love being asked questions. I will give you an answer. I can't promise it'll be the right one, but I'll do my best.
I'm a philosopher.
That's, I think, the third time that you've brought this up. Yes, okay.
I like asking questions.
Great. Proceed.
The trick is to ask the correct question in the correct way.
Okay, well, since you're a professional, this better be the best question I've ever been asked, because this kind of build-up, I would expect nothing less.
So we're going to start with a question.
Yes.
Work through it like philosophers.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to end with some pretty interesting ideas.
Oh, guys, I cannot tell you. I lack the vocabulary to describe how excited I am. Are you guys ready? You know what? I'm going to literally move myself to the edge of my seat. Oh, there we go. I feel smaller now. Okay. Lay it on me.
The question is this.
Yes.
Who is responsible for the epistemic pollution filling our digital spaces?
Okay, well, first, granting for the sake of argument that there is quote-unquote epistemic pollution in our digital spaces, as you've described, and for the sake of argument, I'll extend you that. We are. Everyone is. Or Donald Trump. I'm not quite sure which way he's going to go. I'm going to go for the more generalized sense. It's us. It's humanity. It's people. That's my answer. Now, is my answer incorrect? Or does he have a better one?
Now, there's a bunch of different answers to that question.
I don't think so. I mean, if you mean by a bunch of different answers, I could say, oh, it comes from Bob's house and Mary's house and George's house, that kind of thing. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of different answers. But I think a more generalized yet still accurate answer would be the general public, the internet using people in the spaces, on the platforms, etc. But okay, what other answers would you give?
And the one that probably a lot of people reach to are the ones that are creating the epistemic pollution in the first place.
Which is everyone. Because here's the thing. One person's epistemic pollution could be another person's bread and butter. Or something that someone calls epistemic pollution could be the bald-faced truth that you just do not want to accept. I think we've seen that before. So, but okay, what is the most common answer?
The propagandists.
You are a propagandist. To a certain extent, I am a propagandist. Anybody who puts their opinion out into the public square on the off chance that someone might read it, be inspired by it, be influenced by it, encouraged by it. You know, encouragement is propaganda. A cheerleader, an actual cheerleader on a football team, is demonstrating and perpetuating propaganda. You keep using that word like it's somehow a bad thing in and of itself. It's actually one of the more ambiguous, judgmental sort of words ever. It all depends on how it's being used, I suppose, and to what end. But okay.
The propagandists, the disinformation peddlers.
So you're associating propaganda with disinformation. Okay.
These individuals are to blame for all of the pollution that's filling these spaces.
Okay, so the propagandists and the disinformation peddlers. Okay, so you're categorizing people with intent. All right, people with an agenda are doing this. Some, sincere but perhaps misguided individual, perpetuating something. They're not a propagandist, they're not a disinformation peddler, they're just Joe Schmo, so they're left out of this? Okay.
And this is certainly true, and there's wonderful organizations that are trying to find the source of this epistemic pollution.
Okay. Again, I have to ask, who decides what is epistemic pollution? Who decides what is disinformation? Who decides what is, let's put it this way, unwanted propaganda? And then the step after that is, well, now that you've somehow divined appropriate information from inappropriate information, what would you suggest the next step be?
One of my favorites is the Center for Countering Digital Hate, the CCDH, and they do wonderful work.
Because you say so? That statement alone, I know, this is going to be a crazy thing to say, and I want you to think about it for a second. You saying that without qualification is propaganda. I know. I am such a stinker. Back
in 2021.
2021. It was a very good year. No, wait, it wasn't. No, actually, it wasn't. That was not a fun year, actually. There's a lot of bad things going on. Tell me about 2021. What happened in Wait a second. Oh man, am I going to be able to hit the psychic button? Please tell me I'm going to be able to hit the psychic button. Please tell me.
In February and March, they were tracking and trying to find the source of a bunch of COVID misinformation.
Hey, pandemic! I did it! There you go. One of my three was down. So we had the pandemic. We have to have January 6th and or the 2024 election. Okay, the pandemic's done. Do you think we'll get January 6th and or the 2024 election in here left? I guess we'll see. Angela Arriaga. Hello. Duck Dog. Did I already say hello to Duck Dog? I think I did. Kay Roberts. Hello. Anybody else I missed in the meantime? I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't. Also, Kirsten Scholl over on the X Machine. Yes, guys, I am simulcasting over on X. So if you have an X account, go check it out. JPS, hello. Anybody else? I hope I didn't miss anybody else. If I did, make yourself known, and I'll say hello when I can.
This epistemic pollution that I've been talking about.
Yeah, You know that a whole slew of things that were marked as misinformation, disinformation in the early days and years of the pandemic turned out to be correct? Did you know that? So did your Center for Countering Online Hate, or however it was arranged, did they happen by any chance to earmark bad thinking and get it wrong in the end?
And what they found using data analysts and people scouring these digital spaces was pretty crazy.
Oh, really? I can't imagine what that might have been. I only lived through it. Tell me.
First?
Uh-oh, that's a list! Oh my gosh, I'm circling a list. Circle, 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 a list. Oh boy.
They found that the handful of posts that they were tracking.
They were only tracking a handful of posts? Which handful of posts? What about those posts caused them to track them in the first place?
Were shared over 800,000 times.
Did they pick those posts because they were already getting a lot of traction to begin with? So would it be that... What caused them to zero in on those posts in the first place? Was it the proliferation of them? Were they already popular when they glommed on? I mean, were they sort of like hipsters?
Just in that 2-month period, and just on X and Meta. Just
2 months, unknown number of posts. Or did he say how many posts there were? Sorry, they were following how many posts? Let me back up a little bit.
The handful of posts.
Handful. How many is a handful? Like 5? 12? And if you take 800,000 times divided amongst those, depending on what they are and who they are from, how many followers did the people posting these things have to begin with? What was their reach? I mean, were they posts made by, Joe Schmoes, or were they posts made by, like, Tucker Carlson or something? Nothing you're saying so far is all that meaningful to me without more information. And I'm about to circle leaves out vital context, and it's just on the line of deceptive statistics. Just.
That they were tracking.
Yeah.
Were shared over 800,000 times.
Don't know how much the handful was, don't know who sent them.
Just in that 2-month period?
Over the course of 2 months.
And just on X and Meta.
Just on X and Meta. Nothing of what you're saying means anything. Okay, I'm circling leaves out vital context. Because that, in the grand scheme of social media, those statements without more information mean absolutely nothing.
There's 2 platforms. So this pollution moves very quickly.
What was pollutive about these posts? You have to quantify that. You have to tell us what these posts said and how what they said was or qualifies, as you say, as pollutive. You can't just say it and expect us to believe it. Okay. You say you study propaganda. Have you learned anything about how effective it needs to be?
In our digital ecosystems. And the second thing that they found...
So you're not going to tell us. Okay.
...was that the origin point of these posts could be tracked back to 12 accounts.
12 accounts. Okay, so we had, at minimum, 12 posts. That's a handful to you. Okay. Were these 12 accounts famous people? Did they have a lot of followers? Did they make use of a lot of bots? What?
They called the disinformation dozen.
Okay, first off, dude, I hate to tell you this. 800,000 shares amongst 12 different accounts across 2 months is a drop in the bucket. Actually, it's probably just a percentage of a drop in the bucket. I don't know if you know that. I feel as though we're being actively deceived here. Or at least, I don't know. I still need some percentages. Before I can say deceptive statistics, I need at least some kind of percentages. But I don't want to be too much of a stickler, but I gotta keep an even keel on this.
So this seems like a perfect answer to our question. Who's responsible?
Who are the 12 accounts? So, okay, we're now over halfway through your talk. Okay, so 12 accounts split between Twitter and Meta are the offenders.
Well, this disinformation doesn't. And what do we do when we find a source of pollution? Well,
You have not proven to us that they're doing anything quote-unquote pollutive. You have not described what it is that they are sending out. What did they say? Back in 2021, what did they say? You should have an example ready. You should have a slide up showing one of the tweets or one of the posts on Meta or something. You're withholding vital information for us to be able to assess your argument. This is a bad presentation. You need to go back and study your propaganda some more.
if we don't want that pollution to spread, we get rid of the source, and that's just what the CCDH and these other groups recommend.
Okay, so without telling us the content of the bad information, without explaining what damage was done, in trying to overinflate the effect that these posts had in relation to the internet writ large and social media writ large, your solution is to just find these dozen accounts and shut them down. Okay. Thank you, Snubearth. Happy Men's Mental Health Month. Well, thank you, Snubearth. I think I'm working against the intentions of the month by watching this TEDx talk. But that's why you guys are here. You're here to help me work through this. We're here to work through this together. Okay, so how do you get rid of these accounts? Did you, I don't know, or sorry, did the organization you are promoting here, which is almost a sales pitch for a product or service, I guess we'll see about that, did they advise the Biden administration on going after these accounts?
That these accounts that are spreading it get banned.
Banned! Even though you won't tell us what they did, just that they need to be banned.
But that's not what happens.
Why not?
These 12 accounts, this disinformation dozen, well, they're still on these platforms.
Oh my God!
Largely still able to do the same things that they were doing back in March and February of 2021.
Oh my gosh, guys! These 12 accounts that he won't tell us about, that were posting things that he won't describe, are still active. Oh my God, guys! Oh my God! Oh! I'm taken aback. I don't know what to do. What shall we do to counter this completely undefined purported threat to humanity?
So I want us to consider a different answer to this question.
Oh, you mean the question of who's responsible for the epistemic pollution? When I said everybody, you say it's these 12 accounts. So what is the answer? Wait, are we on the same question?
A different way of understanding responsibility.
Oh, responsibility. Oh, okay. A different way of understanding responsibility. Okay.
Now, to do this, I want to do another thought experiment like we started off with.
This entire endeavor has been a thought experiment of trying to decide whether or not you're making any sense, and the general consensus is you're not. So, okay. Thank you, Duck Dog. Like the door guy at Costco, I want receipts. Ayo! Good call. Yes, Duck Dog. He's telling us a lot of things. He's not showing us a whole heck of a lot. But he's revealing plenty. He's coming to us with an absolutely empty bag. Because if he had an actual offender, if he could point to a tweet or a post on Meta and say, look at this thing that traveled around the world and was liked by 5,000 people and was reshared 1,700 times, and it was an absolute lie, but people reacted to it, people posted to it, and in fact, it was used in a news story as evidence of a thing. This is a problem, guys. This is an example of epistemic pollution, and it's the kind of thing we have to be wary of. If he had such a thing, and you know what? I bet there is such a thing that exists. I've been taken in on a mistruth on the internet before. Perhaps you have as well. And so the fact that he doesn't or can't or won't even describe such a thing, it weakens his credibility. I don't know. Thank you, Frosted Glass. LA riots equal free speech. Skeptical tweets equal threat. Yes. Yeah, throwing a chunk of concrete at a police officer, well, that's just peaceful protesting. An undefined tweet from an undefined account from 4 years ago is obviously something we have to be worried about today because the account's still active, whatever account it is. I just have to take his word for it. Yeah.
Trust me, this one's a lot more fun than envisioning being unclean.
Was that a thought experiment? Okay. I thought the question was who's causing all of this, and there were a lot of answers to it, but the only answer you're willing to give us is 12 accounts you won't name from 4 years ago. When I said everybody, because it's all based, it's mostly subjective. You know, there's some things out there that are just absolute whoppers and aren't true, but a lot of what I'm sure our speaker would categorize as epistemic pollution is based more on subjective opinion. But
no, this time I want you to consider being on a vacation with your family.
Oh God, do I have to? That's like the seventh circle of hell.
It's a wonderful vacation, and you're walking through your hotel.
Walking through my, okay. Lobby.
And you notice that there's a spill. Who's responsible for that spill?
As in who caused it? Or who's to clean it up?
Now, we could use the same kind of answer that we did for who is responsible for this epistemic pollution and say, well,
the disinformation dozen is responsible for that spill? And a spill of what? Is it water? Is it booze? Is it something yuckier? Let me back up a little bit.
Of answer that we did for who is responsible for this epistemic pollution and say, well, the person that spilled whatever it was, well, they're responsible for it.
Well, yes, in the literal sense. Uh-huh.
But you won't probably feel that there's sort of another question lurking in the background, right?
Yeah. Why am I bothering listening to you?
It's not just who's responsible for spilling it, but who's responsible for cleaning up that mess once it's spilled.
I don't know who are the paid janitorial staff. And are you equating a spill, which is, I'm hoping, just a material that is inert and does not have an agenda or does not have some semblance of information, fact, fiction, or otherwise. You're not trying to draw a relation between those two concepts, are you? Because here's the thing. If there is a tweet out there that you don't like, that's not a spill. That's not an accident. Somebody put that there. Someone using their free speech, if we're talking about in the United States. So, see, I think I'm putting far too much time and mental effort through this than our speaker did, but okay, keep going.
If we take this understanding back to the disinformation dozen,
The disinformation doesn't. We're edging into George Floyd territory at this point.
then it seems like there is an argument to be made that the social media platforms themselves have a responsibility to clean up the mess that the disinformation dozen are making, so that their digital hotel lobbies that we all frequent as customers remain clean.
Okay, but here's the thing. Who gets to decide whether the spill on the floor is something that needs to be cleaned up, or if it's just, I don't know, floor wax that hasn't been buffed in yet? I mean, we're right back to who watches the watchmen, who are the gatekeepers. And I think, and I could be mistaken, and I'm happy to be corrected, I think there are a few laws around, or either around or giving platforms a certain level of clearance in the liability realm. Was it like, the number 230 keeps coming into my mind. Why is that? Is there like an act or something? This is Scribe not being a legal expert, but still having some notion somewhere. Or article, was it Article 230? Is that it? Anyway. I don't know. Frosted Glass, thank you so much. Remember, this is why we need liberal arts majors. I know. So they can get mohawks and give very poorly prepared TEDx talks. Section 230, is that it? Am I remembering correctly? I think I am.
The problem is that this isn't how we've interpreted this kind of responsibility up to this point, right?
Right. Why haven't we? I mean, it's not like there's been no thought put into the amount of responsibility and or liability of a social media platform for policing certain content. I mean, content that is demonstrably illegal in some way, shape, or form, sure. But there's a line between illegality and just something that is controversial, let's say. And just because something is controversial or something that is not particularly, has a fan club or something, it's not necessarily the platform's place or responsibility to quote unquote clean it up just because you say you don't like it. Marketplace of ideas. What are you proposing? So far you've said you find the disinformation dozen and you should just ban them. And now, what do you think the platforms should be doing that hasn't already been, at least to this point, adjudicated in the courts?
You've probably heard, seen an article or heard on a podcast this thing called Section 230.
Oh, I did it again! I did it! I knew it! Yes, that thing called Section 230. What does Section 230 say? Tell us.
Right, it's a very important part of the internet legal system.
Yes, okay, and now you're going to describe to us what it does in a completely unbiased and factual way, correct? Because we wouldn't want to have any disinformation laid out in your totally not propaganda TEDx talk.
And it was part of the Communications Decency Act of 1996.
Okay. And it said?
What it did was extend legal Good Samaritan protections
Yes.
to companies that were investing in the physical infrastructure that we needed to get the modern internet off the ground, right?
I so far, I believe you. Okay.
Basically, they were protected from legal liability of what was being carried over those physical lines so that they could keep investing in what we needed for the internet.
Yes, that is my basic understanding. Yes.
The issue is that these same kind of Good Samaritan protections that Section 230 and other laws,
which you won't name,
extended to the physical infrastructure, is now being applied to social media companies that didn't even exist in 1996 when we were considering these questions in the first place.
Oh, so you mean to say that a law written many, many years ago cannot be in any way, shape, or form extrapolated to be relevant to something that happens after it's originally created? Oh. Is that how our laws work? Well, that's the implication anyway. Thank you, Adebisi. TEDx is trash. Would he support canceling it? Ooh. I don't know. I mean, if there was a TEDx talk put out there that he didn't particularly like, should that TEDx be canceled? Or should TEDx the platform be canceled? Or does TEDx the platform need to be shamed and blamed until they cleanse itself of all TEDx talks that he doesn't approve of? And is he the arbiter of what is and is not appropriate for the TEDx? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so a law was made back before there were social media platforms. And the good faith Samaritan basis of that law was then extended to apply as well, not only to the physical infrastructure of the internet, but also such entities that would be as well hosting and transmitting massive amounts of information over that same internet. Okay, so I'm making a guess here that our speaker thinks that that was an error and there needs to be something new or better applied to try to fight off the disinformation dozen, so that he can make sure the accounts that are putting out things that he doesn't like, that he won't describe or quantify, aren't allowed to put those things out anymore. I'm guessing.
And what this is doing is creating what I want to call a responsibility gap.
Okay, now that has got to be an attempt to coin a new buzzword or buzz phrase. I mean, 2 bites at the apple, you got to get a mouthful. So I'm circling that one. All apologies to Keeverdam. But I think we've reached at least something, an attempt between the two, an attempt.
When it comes to the epistemic pollution in our digital spaces. On the one hand, we have those that are to blame.
The disinformation dozen, nobody else.
Are responsible for what they put into the digital spaces.
Yes, those terrible, terrible people that put out things that I don't like to read, and I won't tell you what they are because I'm totally trustworthy and just take my word for it. What they're doing is bad.
But these are largely propagandists.
You keep saying that like it's an inherent evil term. It's one of those things that bugs me, sort of like saying the word bigot when you mean racist. And I know I'm very picky when it comes to words and definitions. Not that I haven't, fudged a word or definition here before just for the sake of fun, like confuzzled or something. But all the same, you keep saying that like it means something, that I'm supposed to be able to just judge this person or this thing as inherently bad. You are a propagandist right now. You are committing propaganda on the TEDx stage right now. Do you place yourself in the same category of villainy as whoever you're gesturing to off into the distance that you won't tell us who they are in the first place?
Bad actors, disinformation artists.
Which you won't give any examples of.
They want the pollution to be spread, so they're not going to clean it up.
Sure, yeah, okay. Welcome to free speech. Unless you're going to... Now, here's something that he did not say in the course of that litany. He did not say criminals. He did not say people who are spreading death threats or something. Just propagandists and disinformation and bad actors. In your opinion, unless you're going to tell us something more about what they're doing, this is the price of a free society. This is the price of freedom of speech. So when I hear someone telling me that someone's doing something wrong and they need to be stopped, but somehow they restrict any information on why they should be stopped, I don't get nearly as suspicious of the quote-unquote bad actors as I get of the messenger. Thank you again, Keeverdam. Just looked it up. Responsibility gap is already a phrase too. You know, Keeverdam, you're becoming something of a very generous killjoy tonight. Okay, fine. I'll take it back again. Twice. That's never happened before in a TEDx episode. First, it's a TED Excellence first. Not only have I retracted a circle once, I retracted it twice on the basis of arguments from the same person. Okay. All right. I'm sensing a little bit of epistemic pollution right now, I think. Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, we have the social media companies that, just like the hotel lobby, are in a unique position to keep clean these digital spaces.
So you want... I would love to hear his reaction to this. And I am making assumptions, maybe they are well-informed assumptions, of his personal biases. You want, and I'm talking in the general sense here, I know things have changed quite a bit, but in the general sense, you want Elon Musk to be the decider of truth on X. Is that what you're asking for? You want the people who capitulated to the Biden administration on restricting and policing speech on Meta during the course of the pandemic. You want those people to decide what is and is not fact. Okay.
But we have no way to hold accountable these social media companies.
Then what are you proposing be done?
And so we're in a situation where it seems like nobody is responsible for this epistemic pollution. It just exists.
What do you propose be done?
And as an internet citizen, that really upsets me.
I can see that. You're very, very upset over things you will not describe to us, okay? What do you propose as a solution to this problem?
I love the internet.
Do you? It doesn't sound like you do. It sounds like you hate it. It sounds like maybe you need to disengage. Because the internet is something you have no total control over, save for the amount of interaction and energy you put into it. And that is your choice. You could just turn it off.
It makes me angry that this is our situation.
Disengage. I can't tell the age of our speaker. But, you know, maybe I just have the benefit of remembering a time. I sound like Rip Van Winkle or something. I remember a time before the internet. And it's true, it has become an integral part of my daily existence simply by force of necessity. I have to use the internet to do my work. I have to use the internet to communicate. I have to use the internet for this, that, and the other, for things that I've taken for granted. A few days ago, I had the power go out in my neighborhood. And likewise, the internet went out at the same time. The power came on about an hour later, but the internet did not come back up for 8-9 hours. And as I sat in my apartment, unable to watch YouTube, unable to check on Twitter, unable to access my Google Docs, unable to log into my work computer at the office, I sat there going like, I have become so dependent on the internet that I have nothing in my regular routine I can do right now. And it was a scary notion. You know, I wasn't like having an anxiety attack. I was just suddenly struck by the fact of just how limited I've effectively made my life and my routine through the power and the freedom of the internet. It is really like a shackle, isn't it? But then I thought to myself, as I just said here, you know, you used to not have the internet. What did you do when you didn't have the internet? And so I read a book. I put in, I mean, in the olden days, I would have put in a VHS tape, but I put in a DVD and I watched a movie. I went over to my little art station that I made for myself to do my model painting, and I painted for a while. I did other things because I could do other things to keep myself occupied. I could do productive things. I could go for a walk, you know, all types of stuff. I think our speaker needs to not be on the internet for a while. I think he would be amazed to find out, with a little practice, how fundamentally unnecessary it can be if you just give a little effort. You know? Especially the doom scrolling he's obviously engaging in.
And it makes other people angry too.
Obviously so.
And we're experiencing these consequences.
These consequences of what?
And starting to name them and explain them.
Yeah, you've been doing that this entire talk. Epistemic pollution, responsibility gap. Yeah, you're seeking control. You're seeking control over something that you do not have total control over. But okay, you've got 1 minute and 44 seconds left. What do you propose be done?
I've been calling it epistemic pollution that's just filling our spaces.
Which is something that I'm not allowed to use as a new buzzword or buzz phrase because Kiefer Dam said so. She's the gatekeeper.
The journalist Ed Zitron, he describes the situation we're in as the rot economy and the slop society.
I have no idea who that is. I don't know what he's referring to. You are the king of lack of context. As opposed to the king of wishful thinking, which is just a really fun song.
Because a lot of the financial incentives create the same kind of gap and problem.
What are you talking about?
The author and journalist Cory Doctorow goes a step further and calls this the enshittification of our modern technology.
Okay, so there are 1,000 words for snow in the Eskimo language. So what? What has that got to do with anything? You're not convincing me of anything. You have declared that there is a problem. You have spent 10 minutes telling us that there is a problem, that it is something so dire, for reasons you won't describe, that it needs a solution that is not on offer. Why? You're a philosopher. What's your proposal?
Something that I feel is pretty apt to describe how I feel going onto these places and feel that epistemic uncleanliness.
I think you're too caught up in your own feelings, and you need to like take a step back and maybe inhabit your rationality for a few minutes.
And so I like to stay angry.
What, like the MCU's Hulk? That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. And that, that line is... It still doesn't make any sense to me any more today than it did the first time that I saw it in the theater. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, get angry. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. Like, what? Anyway.
And so I like to stay angry a little bit, because that's a motivating thing. A little frustration motivates us. But
motivates you to do what? Out of all of this, what have you produced? What idea have you come up with?
it has to motivate us in the correct direction.
The correct direction. And that is?
So the next time you're experiencing these digital spaces, this online rot economy, this pollution, this disrepair of our spaces, I want you to remember that we're in a pivotal moment between society and technology.
We are. Are we in the current year?
This is only going to get worse and produce more epistemic pollution faster.
You still haven't really described or given us an example of epistemic pollution. This entire talk so far has been a trust me story on every element that you're trying to convince us of whatever it is you're trying to convince us of. I swears, guys, these 12 accounts did terrible things. There's this thing called epistemic pollution. I promise you it's terrible. It just is. Because I said it is.
With generative AI.
Whoa! Okay, you brought that in from left field at the last second. Generative AI. Deepfakes. More propaganda. Please use the word propaganda at least one more time before the talk's over.
And so we all need to come together, every single one of us.
Over me?
And have a very serious conversation.
I don't know if you're capable of having a serious conversation without giving us some details, but whatever.
About who is responsible for cleaning up our digital spaces.
No. You know what? I don't particularly feel the need to promote a nanny state over what I can and cannot see or read or consume or assess for myself. Seems to me that's what you're looking for. Seems to me you're looking to be taken care of. The responsibility gap. Whose responsibility is it to check your sources? Whose responsibility is it to apply critical thinking to the things you're seeing or hearing? You want to place that responsibility in the hands of social media companies? You want to abdicate your personal responsibility to some unknown, unnamed, faceless corporation who may in fact be using AI to make those calls? I don't think you've thought this through.
Because if we don't, no one will be responsible. Thank you.
That was a terrible talk. It was just a bad argument, a bad presentation. Absence of detail, absence of example, absence of definition. It was not convincing. And like so many talks in the past, the most frustrating thing to me is, okay, if you're going to have a bad talk, fine. But do not set up a problem without at least the whiff of a proposed solution. And if the honest answer to that is, this is a problem, it needs to be fixed, but I don't know how to fix it. If that is your honest answer, that is an acceptable answer. We all find ourselves from time to time in life coming into a paradox, right? An impasse, let's say. It's like, we see that there's a problem. It is a articulable problem. It is a demonstrable problem. Something could say, like, look, it's not even ambiguous. This is a problem. But given the circumstances of the law, of life, of the physics of the world, there's no easy or visible solution to it. And that frustrates me, and that frustration is something that I'm trying to cope with. I wish I had a solution, but I don't. It wouldn't be a very productive talk necessarily, but it could be cathartic in a way. But to lead up throughout that entire thing and say, oh, well, Article 230, it does a thing that it was not originally meant to do. And I'm like, okay, then, well, what would you do? Doesn't even offer it. Frustrating. That's my frustration, amongst other things. Anyway, that was the talk. Let's move on to the bingo card. I'm going to go over the bingo card one more time by myself. If you guys have arguments for squares to be circled, just hold on to them momentarily. I will get to you, and if I do eventually miss your argument, please just repost it. I am not intentionally ignoring you. Although Keeverdam has certainly won some points tonight, but we'll see. And here's the thing. Tonight, and tonight only, if you have an argument to circle, attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, the only person who can decide whether or not it's legitimate is Keeverdam. She has earned that right. So that square tonight belongs to Keeverdam. So, that being the case, not even I'm going to skip over it. I'm not even going to attempt. No, I've tried it twice now, and I was told no. All right, collectivize zone demographic. Yes, me and everybody else who uses the internet, all of us are victims of this epistemic pollution, so on and so forth. Got that one. Systemic or institutional, I think that is implied both with the social media companies, the pollution itself, it's spread across the internet, and so on and so forth. So I think that is fine right there. Sales pitch for product or service. He mentioned the Center for Combating Digital Hate or something earlier. Was that enough to qualify as a sales pitch? I'm going to leave that one. Childhood or family anecdote. He never talked about himself or his family. Diversity, equity, inclusion? No. Plays victim? Yes. Yes, he certainly did. It's like, oh my God, all these terrible things on the internet I keep exposing myself to through my own choices, and I just can't take it anymore. Microaggressions or unconscious bias. He did bring up bias in the course of his presentation. I'm gonna leave it to you guys to give me a better argument. Privilege. I mean, if I'm being really sneaky, I could say that social media companies and internet service providers enjoy the privilege of not being held responsible necessarily for the information or the material that goes through their platforms or their infrastructure. Yeah. Well, that is a privilege that they enjoy. I don't know. I'll certainly one. Contradicts own point, fails to make argument. Fails to make argument. He didn't make any argument. He didn't argue for anything except that he's really, really mad and really, really upset all the time. Patriarchy? No. Deceptive statistics. Okay, you know what? I understand he didn't use any percentages. However, he kept using numbers and he kept using statistics of a kind, how many times they were shared, and so on and so forth. But he did not quantify them. He did not give the relative effect of them. He did not describe what they were or what they did or anything else. So, and it was used, unlike the previous hyperbole in another talk, it was used as a point to try to influence or convince me of his argument. But he didn't tell us enough to make it worthwhile. So I am circling that one. Johnny Hellcat, I saw this thing on the net and it's your fault. You know what? It's true. It's true. I am the harbinger of mental distress. I am the deliverer of terrible, terrible argumentation. But hey, I'm legally not liable, so deal with it yourself. Anyway, economic disparity. I mean, he talked about the rot economy, but that's about as far as he went, and he didn't tell us what that was supposed to mean. So I'm not quite sure. Feminism, no. Marginalization. Not that I heard. White supremacy, he never brought up race. Word salad, I am going to circle that because most of the talk just ended up being nothing. Gobbledygook. Just and repetition. A lot of repetition. Self-vilification or wretchedness. No, I don't think so. He obviously did set himself up to be a victim, mostly a victim of his own uncontrollable emotions. But I didn't hear him sort of categorize himself as part of the problem in any way. So I didn't hear that. Weightless example or non sequitur. Every quote-unquote example he gave, I understand this crosses over what leaves out vital context. But seriously, there's a certain point at which if you don't tell us anything material about your examples, they are weightless. They mean nothing. And as well, those statistics about how many times they were shared over 2 months from a dozen accounts, it means nothing. And especially in the absence of context. I can't touch that square. That's Keeverdam square. Benevolent condescension. I'm sure there's an argument there. I will leave it to you guys. Anecdote that probably never happened. Well, I mean, I can believe that this Center for Online Hate or whatever identified 12 accounts with a handful of tweets or posts, which I still don't know what a handful is, but at least 12. And he didn't really give us many anecdotes. I mean, well, let's see. Well, Meta's not doing fact-checking anymore. He gave us some quotes of some people. I can't think of all the things that he said, I can't think of anything that sounded false or that could qualify as an anecdote, if you get my meaning. So I guess I'll leave that one too. Okay, well that's the card as I have it right now. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, put them in the chat now. And I leave it to Keeverdam as I go through these to chime in on any arguments for attempt to coin new buzzword buzz phrase. K. Roberts, his mommy needs to take his internet away and make him go outside and play. Yes. Yes. Angela Arriaga. Wow, Scribe, that's actually one of the few Beatles songs that I like. Come together right now over me. The Bonnie Blue song. I'm not going to explain that one. If you know, you know. And I'm sorry for ruining that song for anybody else. Advocates Diabli. Funny thing is, epistemic pollution does not even really fit for the purpose he was trying to use it as. Well, just like saying propaganda over and over again, like it was a reflexive pejorative against anybody who might be doing it. Advocates Diabli again. He started off by collectivizing all internet users, yes, as being constantly concerned about the truthfulness of everything on the internet, and he played victim to the Dirty Dozen's misinformation. Sure. And those are circled, so we're good to go. Okay, K. Roberts. Okay, Keeverdam. This is your realm. New buzz phrase. His overall undertones of emotional anger throughout his presentation. Well, now, I will say that is one of the more abstract arguments I've heard for buzzword buzz phrase. But again, I am not the arbiter of truth on this one, so I leave it to Keeverdam. Keeverdam, assess K. Roberts' argument. Let's see. We got plays victim. Anecdote that never happens is advocatus. He went to school to get a philosophy. No. The haircut is all the proof I need. The haircut is all the proof I need. The overindulgence into his own emotion without any rational arguments or relayed facts is all the proof that I need. Philosophy does not require these things, but probably does require a mohawk. I'm assuming. Shadowcat, so otherwise known as Ministry of Truth. Well, he didn't quite come out and say that, but that's definitely what he was pushing. That there needs to be a truth council on these social media platforms to decide what is and is not appropriate. But until that happens, he's just going to be angry. He's just going to be angry. What was the darn list? Well, he said firstly earlier, and then he went through some examples of things and stuff. So there was at least a list of complaints going on, at the very least. K. Roberts, feminism. Like a feminist, he doesn't want to clean up spills himself. Yeah. Funny, but I don't think that qualifies. Advocatus, bringing up Meta and X were weightless examples. Well, we already circled that. He did not tell us what on them was so bad, nor did he show us any misinformation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, leaves out vital context, and they were weightless. Yeah, the amount of information he did not give us on his examples also makes them weightless, as well as leaves out vital context. Attribution, attempt to coin new buzzword buzz phrase. Online rot economy is a new coined phrase because he added online to rot economy that already existed. Ooh! Keeverdam? Attribution has done the research. And so this guy is trying to bolt on the word online to a previous phrase. Does that qualify, Keeverdam? Tell me, oh, tell me true. Keeverdam, if a speaker tries to popularize and or take credit for an already existing buzzword buzz phrase, does it still count as an attempt to coin it? If so, I apologize. No, you're right. You're right. I have many times not circled that square for something that someone has said that I'm familiar with, right? Like I said, usually the red flag for such things is when a speaker says something to the effect of, this is something I like to call, and then they give you their acronym or something, or they say, white fragility, or something creative. They take credit for it. Whether or not it's an actual, original phrase or something. But no, you don't have anything to apologize for. No, you're right. I have done the exact same thing before. I do not want to ostensibly give credit to someone for making something up that they're borrowing from somewhere else. Now, that's what the square is for. That someone is attempting to, promote their life coaching program or their book upcoming or something like that. That's fine. Shadowcat, benevolent condescension. Any belief other than my own is dangerous disinformation. Yes. And you know what I'm going to add to that? You're not wrong. I'm going to add to that the constant implication of, trust me, I know what I'm talking about, and what I'm telling you is what's bad is bad. And also promoting a nanny state kind of thing. Yeah. So I'll circle that one. Okay. Let's see. We got benevolent condescension. Let's see. Benevolent condescension. Everybody's going for benevolent condescension. Oh my gosh. Okay. Keeverdam. Okay, so Keeverdam, was that sure for Attribution's argument? Just please clarify for me so I don't make a mistake. Okay, I'll give it to Attribution. Okay. Everyone, and I know this sounds like I'm giving her shit. I'm not giving her shit. This is fine. She's absolutely right. Keeverdam has deemed Attribution's argument acceptable. And through the power of my power that I have thus granted Keeverdam in making such a decision and being the decider for the evening, we have, if you can believe it, a bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah! Of course!
Our first, perhaps only bingo. All thanks to Attribution and Keeverdam. Attribution, if my first attempt to coin doesn't work, disinformation doesn't, he mentioned, seems to have come from his team, but he's popularizing it. Also, I love the name. Yeah. All right, so there were options. All right, well, guys, I'll give it another minute here if you have any last-minute arguments for squares to be circled. In the meantime, I will advertise my wares, such as they are. First and foremost, did you know I have a Discord server? Would you like to join the Discord server? Or do you know someone who else might like to join the Discord server? Well, they better be watching the show, because in order to join the Discord server, you have to click on that link, find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello, and in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you are not a bot, actually watch the stream, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is epistemic. Smithmasnios and walnuts. No, epistemic. Epistemic. Anyway, if you put in something gobbledygook that almost comes out like epistemic, I'll know what you mean and I'll acknowledge it. So there you go. Hello, epistemic. Yeah, that's the secret word for today. Not quite Pee Wee Herman's secret word. We don't have to scream now, but it's fine. Also, unless something comes up tomorrow, I should be on Midnight's Edge in the morning at 9:05 a.m. Pacific Time, noon 05 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm sure we'll talk about movie stuff. We'll talk about a director has been assigned to the upcoming X-Men movie for the MCU. Oh my gosh, can you believe who it is? I certainly can. And talk about failing upwards. And probably some other things as well. I'm sure there'll be some Superman stuff in there, some James Gunn stuff. Who knows? Find out tomorrow on Midnight's Edge in the morning. Also, plans to visit my folks have been pushed back to next Saturday. That means that this Saturday there will be a Dog, Cat, Fox, and Friend live stream for News of the Week. That'll be at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on the channel. And, oh, by the way, here's a new one. If you stick around, if you do not leave my channel once the show has ended, you will be sent automatically over to Price of Reason's channel for his weekly Quantum Leap episode retrospective. Yes, are you an 80s kid? Or a 90s kid? You remember Quantum Leap? Did you like Quantum Leap? Well, Price of Reason, once a week, and progressively through all the seasons, episode by episode, is doing a retrospective on Quantum Leap. So, if you like Price of Reason, if you like Quantum Leap, if you like people talking about old-time television, just stick right here. And I've already programmed it in. You'll be automatically sent over there. And if you get sent over there and you pop into the chat, say, hey, Scribe sent me. I'm sure that'll make Price happy. Or maybe he doesn't like me. I don't know. Maybe he'll be annoyed. He'll be like, oh, he sent you? Oh, okay. Anybody else for arguments before I cut things out? Adabisi, they didn't have someone for X-Men, and why is it not called X-People? Well, it was originally going to be called The Mutants. Because, what was her name? Jennifer, was it Jennifer or Jessica Alonso? Whoever the heck. The lady that used to be running that part of Marvel Studios, she didn't like X-Men, obviously. Although, I'll tell you something. On the announcement of the director, I did do a thing. I'll probably show this off tomorrow on Midnight's Edge in the morning, so you're getting a free preview. But I did do a thing. It's a cheap joke. I won't deny it is a cheap joke, but it's here all the same. That is my teaser image for the MCU X-Men movie. Just so you know. Oh, I missed an Advocatus argument. Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling. Okay, Advocatus. Sales pitch for rewriting Section 230 since he seems to hate it so much, and that seemed to be the gist of the talk at the end. That's not a product or a service. He was making an argument that he never completed. So I would say that falls into contradicts own point or fails to make argument. Nice try. Nice try, but I don't think so. K. Roberts, anecdote that never happened. He actually analyzed and parsed the dirty 12. Instead, they just monitored and target. Well, he put the responsibility, as we're talking about responsibility, of that onto that Center for Online Hate thing. So, and I don't know if he's associated with that. He didn't say he was. I didn't get enough. This is one of the follies of it. He didn't provide us enough information for me to assess the truth or accuracy of anything that he was saying. So, But, as I've said before, if you have an argument after the show that you think would clarify something said by someone else, or an argument you made yourself that you'd like to try to convince me otherwise, you can always leave it in the comments or over on the TEDx Alents section of the Discord server. And if, after the show, you do make an argument for a square to be circled, I will circle that square on a revised version of the bingo card and give you credit for it. And if your argument ends up circling a square that makes a bingo, well then, you can be proud of that too. But anyway, everybody, I'm going to call it here. Thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or to the fundraisers at the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very much appreciate it. On your way out, if you would, if you're leaving, okay, bye-bye. You don't have to leave. You can stay right here, and after I end the stream, you'll go over to Price of Reason's channel. But as that happens, if you want to leave a like, and or subscribe, and or share this stuff out, I would appreciate it. And also, I have a merch store. You can get your own Pepperjack t-shirt or a Scribelight mug. TED Excellence on it, sure. Actually, I have my own Scribelight TEDx mug. I use it for my cocoa. But anyway, I will stop shamelessly whoring myself out right now until the next time. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. I hope you have a good Friday ahead of you and weekend as well. And I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.